Hey, so a quick intro to this video. There's a lot of content on YouTube over the past year concerning the 12 volt high power cables of the past and the introduction of the 12 volt 2x6 cables and Hardware Busters does a good job at explaining the differences. He also does a video where he torture tests a Corsair cable, a 12 volt 2x6, and it does very well. I'm running two Corsair HX 1500Is, the most recent version that has the updated cables. So it ships with two 12 volt 2x6 cables. And I've only had a good experience so far. I see Jay's too. He's running an HX 1500, but then in his most recent video, he's got a mix of new and old cables from Amazon, from CableMod, from Corsair. And he goes ahead and says, well, look at this Corsair cable. It's running a big, amp per pin variance. And you see the GPU tweak 3 warning come up that it's pulling over, let's say 9.2 amps per pin. So I was curious because I'm running both. In my white setup here, I'm running a CableMod 12 volt 90 degree cable that I purchased a few months ago. Seems to be running fine, but I can't verify the per amp amperage or voltage. I'd have to buy Thermal Grizzly's viewer. So I'm going to go ahead and purchase that, and we'll share that in a part 2 of this video. But so far it seems like it's holding up and it hasn't given me any issues. I went ahead after watching Jay's 2 cents video and I purchased a CableMod, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try on my Astral here and see my Corsair cables, my CableMod cable, and which is running the tightest, which has the best quality control. And well, you'll see in the following minutes that I had some issues with my CableMod. I'm actually going to return that because it's the first time that I've gotten a warning from GPU tweak 3 about over 9 amps pulling through one pin. So here's an example of the cables that are shipping out with the new HX 1500i from Corsair. And as you could see, maybe on the 8-pin side, they kind of look a little sloppy, but not really when you compare it with the CableMod cables. And then you could see here, you've got a nice two-tone connection here to make sure that you've fully inserted the 12 volt cable into the graphics card. And you see here that you've got these nice horseshoe connector pins. They're all pretty much equally spaced from the edge or end of the connector there. So again, looks very good. I'll show you the CableMod cable. This is a brand new CableMod cable. Again, neither of these have been connected to the graphics card. So CableMod again looks very similar to the Corsair cable. So again, very, very similar. Okay, this is a much stiffer cable. So again, I'm going to be very careful. I'm going to not bend it in the first 3.5 to 4 centimeters, which I guess is about 1.5 inches, or 1 3/4 inches. But definitely a much stiffer cable. And this is the Modflex version. The Mod Mesh version is even stiffer from CableMod. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna be a little more careful with the bends on the CableMod versus the Corsair cable, which is a lot more flexible cable. But again, I think that a lot of this, you know, don't forget, we're pushing these to their pretty much their max capacity at 600 watts. If you're overclocking, you know, even more reason to be very careful and respect these cables. You know, I personally wouldn't connect and disconnect these multiple times and feel safe about it, or, you know, run them with a super tight bend because I want it to look as good as possible in my build. So I'm going to kind of treat them with respect because I know they're already kind of being pushed to their limits. So I think that's something that a lot of users have to keep in mind with the 12 volt cables. So I'm going to go ahead here, run FurMark. And as you can see here, look at the difference I'm getting with the Corsair, brand new Corsair cable that I very carefully installed into my Astral. So you're seeing here pin 1 and pin 6 have about a 0.9 amp difference. It's a pretty good spread, you know, and it fluctuates between 0.7 and 0.9 amps. Now, we're going to go ahead and test the CableMod cable. I will also test the 2 or 3 other Corsair cables to see if there's a quality control issue with Corsair cables. Maybe this is a, you know, a bad one, and maybe the other ones, you know, run just as tightly as the CableMod. But who knows? Maybe the CableMod's going to give me some good pin variance as well. So let's find out. So here are the pins at idle with the new CableMod cable installed. You can see here it's got a lot bigger radius on the bend because it's a much stiffer cable. So like I said, I try to put the least strain on these cables. They seem to be, you know, kind of delicate at least. So I want to put all chances on my side. And let's see the CableMod cable for a Corsair HX 1500i. I'm going to start up FurMark here. Wow, we are actually getting worse results with the CableMod cable. 9.1. And pin 5 and 6 are drawing 7.5, 7.6. So these aren't the results that, you know, Jay's 2 cents got in his test. Look at that, there we got a red pin now. Wow, 9.2 amps. We even got a warning from GPU Tweak 3. That's never happened to me before. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pull this cable out, I'm going to put my Corsair cable back in, and that'll be it. So, you know, we somehow just can't get this myth busted. Everybody's getting different results from these 12 volt 2x6 cables. Well, thanks guys. I hope this helps. But if you do have an Astral, it's great. You could check the per pin. Unfortunately, like I said, I have a Gigabyte Aorus Master RTX 5090, and yeah, I'm running a CableMod cable, and I hope that it'll hold up. You know, what we have here is the second Corsair cable, and this one seems to be the most consistent of the 3, right? So each HX 1500 2025 ships with 2 12 volt 2x6 cables. This is the second that was in that box, and this seems to be the most consistent of those two, and by far from the CableMod. I'm going to run FurMark. And let's see. Wow, this is really interesting. So this is the best cable that I currently own. As you could see, pin 1 is at 8 amps and pin 6 is at 842, 844, pin 4. They're very consistent. That goes to show you that something's happening somewhere, because you'll watch different YouTubers and they all have different experiences with these cables. So like I said, brand new cable. I'm not going to unplug it now unless I absolutely have to. Look at the bend I ran, and this is a, you know, this is a much softer cable than the CableMod, but I'm still running a really nice big radius bend there on the cable. So again, putting my chances on my side, and you know, Furmark is running here. And look how nice that pin consistency is. So this is what I'm gonna be going with. All right, guys, I hope that has, I guess, probably confused you more than anything else. But if you're buying an HX 1500 from Corsair, there are no issues with their cables. Both cables ran perfectly fine. I ordered a brand new CableMod, and that was the worst of the bunch. So stick with your OEM cables, treat them with respect, and you shouldn't have any issues. I'm running a slight overclock on this Astral liquid cooled card, and you know what? It's been great. Guys, take care, enjoy your builds, and stay tuned for more PC content.